So this unit is going to be on systems. A system is two or more equations. So instead of just one equation, you're now going to have two, is what a system is. Do you know how they've been really pushing us on vocabulary? So you know those matching things I've been having to make you do? One of them is going to be system, and it's going to match with two or more equations. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how that's going to go. All right, the solution, or the answer, the part you're trying to find, satisfies both of them. If that was not working. Okay. And so that's going to be the point where they meet up, or the intersection. So when you use a calculator, it's the point where they meet up. You just click on it. So here's the possibilities. You can get one solution, which would look like this. You have two lines, and they intersect at one place right there. So one answer, which is most of the time going to be what happens. All right. But be aware, your answer isn't just going to be like 5. It's not going to be a single number, because the answer is an intersection. So it's going to be two numbers, an X and a Y. It's going to be something, comma, something. So just be aware your answer is not just a number. It's now two numbers. It's a point. You could have no solution. And what would that look like if the lines don't touch? Parallel. Good. So like this. So there isn't an intersection. Here, let me just put it. If that one's called comic books, by the way. I should probably just order a new batch of them. They're not very expensive. And then the last thing that can happen is you can have infinite solutions, which infinite means forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, so that is what happens. Now it's going to look like I'm only drawing one line, but what happens is you have two lines and they are one on top of each other. Do you see what I'm saying there? Like they literally intersect everywhere because they are the same line. So infinitely many. Go ahead. You can write it however you want. I write infinite. Sometimes you see IMS, infinitely many solutions. People write infinitely many, whatever's the one that means like infinite solutions. So for 1 and 2, determine whether the given point is a solution. The answer is yes or no. So you got 50-50 choice, like chance here. And all I want you to do is watch. You guys are all doing a good job. You're like on top of it today. Today is a good day. I'm going to share my screen, go to the calculator and type this in. So do you guys see how I am just typing in that first equation? Do you see what I did there? Okay, because when I turn it over to you, you got to be able to use the calculator. And then I'm going to do the other one. 6x minus 5y equals -10. Now, I don't see an intersection here. Sometimes you might need to move the graph. Do you see how I'm having to move this over to find that intersection point? All right, I'm going to click on the intersection. Do you see how it's 15, 20? So let me go back to the paper. Stop sharing here. Oh, good. So the answer is yes. Yay. That was really difficult, wasn't it? Let's try it again. Let me go back to my calculator, clear these out. I'm just going to type in the other one. So 5x minus 2y equals -36. And then when I try the other one, 3x minus y equals -26. Now, nothing showed up. If you hit this little home button, it'll put it back so zero's in the middle. And then I can kind of see them getting closer together over here. You just sort of need to move around your graph, or I guess you could zoom out too. Whatever works for you. You guys are good with technology. But you click on the intersection, -16, -22. And that is not what's right here. So the answer is no. Now, the way that you work it out, if you don't have a calculator, this is the show your work part on the test, okay? And you guys are good at solving one equation, so you're going to be fine with 2. I believe in you. This is a lot of steps. You're going to get one variable by itself and then substitute. That's what substitution is. Substitute means replace. So you replace into the other equation, and from there, you're going to be able to see what you're going to do. You're going to solve for that, And once you get one answer, you have to plug back in to get the other answer. Remember that you need two numbers, an X and a Y. This is a lot to read through. Basically, just watch me do this and you'll be fine. You just have to be able to plug in. So look at this first one. And the first thing that people ask is that two separate questions? No, it's all one question. A system means you have two equations. Do you notice how this one is Y equals? Do you see that? Okay, you guys are all like bright-eyed and paying attention. This is awesome. I'm going to take that, and because it equals Y, I'm going to substitute it in for Y in the other equation. I'm going to replace Y. You're going to remove Y and replace it with the other stuff. So here's what that's going to look like. X plus, and instead of Y, what are we going to put? I'm going to 3 plus X. Good. You remove Y, you replace it with 3 plus X, and then equals 5. Again, once you get there, you're going to see what to do because you guys are good at solving equations. What would you do next? And then subtract the good. See, you guys are there. X plus X, if you put those together, be 2X. So that's combining like terms. And then, yes, we're going to subtract the 3. So that would give you 2X equals just 2. 5 minus 3 gives you 2. And then what's your last step? Divide by 2, you get X equals 1. Here's the thing. A lot of people stop there. Remember, you need two numbers. You need an X and a Y. You're going to take 1, plug it back in for X. A lot of times you can get away with doing this in your head. If I plug in 1 for X, good. 3 plus 1 is 4. So Y is 4. And then you write your answer as an ordered pair. So it would be 1, 4. How do you think you could check that answer to make sure it's right? Put this in Desmos, click on the intersection, and it will be 1, 4. Okay? You want me to show you that? I can show it to you if you want. It'll only take a second. Here, look, if you're not sure if you're right or not, what was the first one? X plus Y equals 5. And then what was this one? Y equals 3 plus X. I'm going to hit the home button. Boom, 1, 4. Cool? All right, let's try it again. Do you see how this equation equals Y? It's Y equals. Okay, so you're going to take that, plug it in for Y, substitute in the other equation. So that is going to give you 2X minus, and instead of Y, you're going to put, yeah, now you will need parentheses around that because you're subtracting. You have to subtract the whole thing. All right. And then equals, what do we have there? 3 equals 3. Okay. Then we're going to need to distribute the negative sign. So that is going to give you 2X, and then what? Yeah, minus 2X, and then minus 1, good, equals 3. And you should hopefully be like, hey, wait, hold on a second. Something is weird there, because what's going to happen? Yeah, when you combine like terms, 2X minus 2X. Okay, so what we ended up with is negative 1 equals 3. Does that make any sense? No, so your answer is no solution. And I will show you this one as well. When I graph them, what should it look like for us to check that we're right? Yeah, they should be good. Oh my gosh, you guys are so on top of it today. All right, Y equals 2X plus 1. Oh, I typed that whole thing. It wasn't even in there. All right, Y equals 2X plus 1. And then when I do the other one, 2X minus Y equals, what was it, 3? There you go. Boom, parallel. All right, go ahead and flip over. We'll do one more and then I'll give you your break. Do you see how this equation is X equals? You have to be like a good noticer. Do you see that? X equals? Okay, I'm going to take all of that and do what with it then? Transfer it into, this one's going to be X. Do you see how it's X equals? So we're going to put all of that in for X in the other equation. All right, so when you plug that in or substitute, you're going to have 3 times what? 4y, yep, minus 17. All of that stuff gets plugged in for the x. And then you kind of just need to finish writing the line. Like, what's going to come after that? We took all that, plugged it in for x. And then it would be minus y equals 4. From there, you're going to know what to do because you guys are good at solving equations. What would be your next step? Like, that's really the only new thing is the substitute. Yeah, good. And then times negative 17. You're going to distribute. So that's going to give you what? 12y minus... if you type in, what is it? 3 times negative 17? I think you're right. Oh, no, negative 51. But you would type in the calculator. So minus 51 minus y equals 4. All right, then what? You guys are good at solving. What would you do next? Good. 12y minus 1y, 11y minus 51 equals 4. And then we're going to add 51. 11y equals, what is that going to be? 55. Oh, so that's going to work out nice. Divide by 11. What's y? Okay, but you're not done. You found y. What do you still need? X. All right, you're going to take that 5, plug it back in for y. Kind of doesn't matter which equation at that point. And a lot of times you can do it in your head. It doesn't really involve more writing. Just follow along with me. If I plug in 5 for y, 4 times 5. 4 times 5 would be 20. Minus 17 would be 3. So we get x is 3. And then how do you write it? Because it needs to be an ordered pair. Oh, good. You guys even got it in the right order. Why is it 3, 5 and not 5, 3? Because that's a common. X comes first. So when you look at number 4, what you need to notice is none of the variables are by themselves. You don't have an x equals something or a y equals something. And that means you have to do that step on your own. So you want to find the variable that will be easiest. So do you see an x or a y that's already kind of alone? Do you see how this x is kind of by itself? It's like you want to go after the weak, helpless one. Okay. How could I get that x to be fully alone? Good. You're going to minus the 3y over. So you have to do that step yourself. And so that's going to give you x equals 7 minus 3y. Do you see how I did that? I saw that this x was kind of alone. To get it fully by itself, I did minus 3y to both sides. I just moved this over there. And so I get x equals 7 minus 3y. So here, go ahead and write that down, and then I'll do the next step. Since x is alone now, you take all of this and do what with it? Put it in for x in your other equation. That's why it's called substitution. You are substituting. So that's going to give us 4 times what?
4 times
7 minus 3y. It's like all of that stuff. And then you kind of just have to finish writing the rest of the line. Perfect. Good. Oh my gosh, you guys got it. From there, you just solve it. And that's what the mid-year data collection thing is on. It would just look like this. Like you just solve from there. It's just one equation. So, good. You would distribute the 4. 28 minus 4 times 3. Negative 12y minus 2y equals 0. It does involve a little bit of writing, but you guys are good at that. You guys are good at this. This is like the stuff you guys are good at. Well, it's like terms. So you'll have 28 minus how many y? It's minus 12 and minus 2. Yeah, minus 14y equals 0. And then what? Not gonna be ready to divide yet. You can plus over the 14y. If you were like, hey, I'd rather subtract the 28, you're fine. It actually doesn't matter. It's personal preference, however you want to do that. Now we're ready to divide. We're going to divide by 14. Now I could put that in the calculator, but does anyone know that? It will come out to a nice whole number. 2, good. Nice job. Nice. We're not done though, because we found y, we still need x. Okay, I'm going to take 2 and plug it back in for y back up here. A lot of times you don't need to do any writing. You can do it in your head. And plus you have a calculator. You can type it in if you want to, but just follow along with me. If I plug in 2 here, what is 3 times 2? 6, good. And then 7 minus 6 is 1. So we get x equals 1 and good. It would be 1 comma 2. And if you want to check it, you can type the original problem in the calculator. In fact, I'll say this on the recording as well. What I'm going to suggest what you do on your test is type it in the calculator first and get the answer and then go back and work it out and just make sure your answer matches that. Okay. All right. Last one of these. Oh, this one I like a lot better. Do you see how y is by itself? That's good because I can just take this stuff and do what with it? Put it in for y. You're going to substitute it in for y. If it's y equals, you substitute in for y. If it's x equals, you substitute in for x. All right, so that's going to give us 2x plus 2, and instead of y, like in place of substituting for y, you're going to put negative x plus 16. Good. Equals 2. Gosh, there were a lot of 2's in that one. All right, then what? This, we're going to distribute. So good. It'll be 2x, negative 2x, and then 2 times 16 is 32. I'll just be your calculator there. And then you should hopefully go, hey, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, like terms, but what's going to happen to them, guys? Good. 32 equals 0, or sorry, 32 equals 2 doesn't make any sense. So you get no solution. Now, just real quick, listen to me. There didn't happen to be an infinite solutions on this one. Instead of 32 equals 2, let's say you got 2 equals 2. Are you following me there? 2 equals 2, or 7 equals 7, or 9 equals 9, like something that makes sense all the time, then it would be infinitely many. You following me there? All right. These are going to be like the ones in your delta math. You're going to set it up and then use your calculator. All right. Chase got a total score of 1340 on the SAT. Is that good or bad? Do you guys know about SAT scores? That's really, 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 really good. Above no, it's about out of 1600. Anything above 1000 is good. So Chase did awesome.
Yeah, Chase.
Go Chase. His math score was 400 points less than twice his verbal score. We got 2 things going on there, and that's what you want your X and your Y to be. So X is going to be math, Y is going to be verbal. That's the first thing you want to do is figure out what are the 2 things going on. And yes, you should write X equals whatever and Y equals whatever so that you don't confuse yourself. All right. Now, if his total score was 1340, X plus Y is 1340. Like that was his total score. If you add together his math and his verbal, they're both out of 800, by the way. 800 and 800. 1600 is the total. Now, this is going to be the one that's tough to do. His math score. All right. Which one did we make math? X. So X equals math score. This is the very first thing we did this year. You remember we had verbal, like a sentence, and you had to change it to symbols? 400 points less than twice his verbal score. How would we write twice his verbal score? Well, twice his verbal score would be 2y, but we want 400 less than that. So minus 400. Remember the less switched the order of it? So that was tricky. 400 points less than twice his verbal score. Now that one we're not going to do by hand. I'm going to just type it in. So eyes up here. All right. X plus Y equals 1340. And then X equals 2Y minus 400. I don't know where that ended up, but 1340 is a pretty big number. So I'm guessing it's going to be way out here. Oh, there we go. And what part do I want to click on? Intersection. Here's what you're going to write on your paper. X equals 760. Y equals 580. So Which section did he do better on?
Math.
Math, by a lot. His math was way better than his verbal. All right, and then last one. At the end of the 2000-2001, a long time ago, football season, 31 Super Bowl games have been played with two current football leagues, the AFC and the NFC. Those are the two things going on. So we're going to have X equal AFC, Y equal NFC. The first thing is, what are the two items? Like, what are the two things going on? And they played 31 games. So just like this score was 1340, what's our first equation? If they played a total of 31 games. Good, perfect. Thank you. X plus Y equals 31. It was a total of 31 games. X plus Y is 31. Now this is going to be the one that's a little tougher. NFC, which one did we say was NFC? What letter did we give that? Y. So Y equals NFC won 5 more games than AFC. So Y would equal, if they won 5 more, well, it's going to have to involve a variable. 5 more than AFC. Good, X plus 5, 5 more than them. And I'm going to go type it in. All you have to do is set it up and type it in. So X plus Y equals 31. And then what was this one? Y equals X plus 5. Oh, wow. Let me zoom back in on that because I got really zoomed out there. All right, intersection. There you go. X is 13. Y is 18.
This is the only thing that